practicing politicians, former presidents, and there's a distinction between those high representatives or special representatives, some who have liaison offices. There's a former president who is now the high representative for South Sudan, former president of Mali, and one can continue to mention many others who have been in similar position. And it was not without significance that appointment came on Mashujaa Day. If it was lost on a lot of people who didn't know the circumstances under which that appointment came to be made on Mashujaa Day, it had a political significance. There's a political message which was being sent out there. And the fact that another African president was present, and you saw what he did to our two leaders, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So I want to congratulate him to do that. And if you look at the work cut out for him, it has some relevance with what we are discussing here, which is very important about infrastructure, transnational highways, about high-speed railways, about how we are going to use the African skies for Africa itself for growth and sustainable development. So those who are praying, there are those who are praying and praying that this would lead to Raila's retirement. Woe unto you. It is not going to happen. And they may retire even before Raila retires. And that should be made clear. Having said that, Madam Speaker, let it not be thought that I'm using this opportunity to go into other matters, but I think this is a very, very important bill. One of the things that happened in Kenya which really takes us back, if you look at the Kenyan towns and city 40 years ago, whose plans were developed during the colonial times, and for about 5-10 years after independence, they were maintained as such. These were beautiful urban developments. And quickly on my fingers, I can mention Kericho, Eldoret, Nakuru, Nyanyuki, and to some extent Kisumu. These were beautiful cities. Nakuru, even the railway station itself, was not made just for passengers. It was made to be an iconic structure within the city of Nakuru. And it is a city which was well planned. Nairobi, the master plan, there was a master plan for Nairobi in 1948. And if you look at that master plan, if you had kept that master plan and used it for the development of this city in terms of infrastructure, we would not be having the kind of jams we're having in Nairobi. This whole highway between Uhuru Highway, which used to be called the Queen Elizabeth Way, opposite Serena Hotel, there's a line of constructions which have been erected and developed along that part of what is now Uhuru Highway, which should not have been there in the first place. In fact, if you look at those plans from the city towards Embakasi and the airport, we should have been able to have 6 lanes on one side of the highway. You'll be having a highway containing, on one side, a dual carriageway with 6 lanes on both sides. You go to LA, we're very proud to see what has been done in that city. And yet there were those plans for Nairobi. Now, one of the things that has happened in Nairobi is a choked city. You know, if something happens in the middle of the city of Nairobi, there are very few exits from the center of the city. If you go to our estates also, you know, there are areas where even to have the fire department bring out their vehicles and equipment, it's absolutely impossible. The tragedy is that people from 200 years ago have been planning to develop. But in this part of the world, we are trying to catch up with planning, not even to develop. We are trying to catch up with planning. We got it the other way around. I think this universe, the way it is, although a scholar that I really respect, who died just a few years ago, was saying in the cosmic order and the way the universe is, there's no God. This is some universal order, cosmic order that is there. And through the laws of physics and science, we're able to keep the stars and the planets and galaxies together. But I think even in nature, there's a plan. You look at a beautiful flower, it is not just an accident. You look at even animals, somebody, even the human beings, you look at them. The other day I was looking at a species of monkeys in Japan, who live in winter. They know how to survive in winter. They go for warm baths in some of those natural geysers. Nature itself has some order. Now we as human beings, we are trying to destroy nature, but also in doing our own work, developing, we are not having any plans to do so. So I think this bill, member who is responsible for roads must do in order to ensure that our roads, our pavements, and parking bays are not only properly planned, properly developed, but also they add to the needs of our population, whether we live in urban areas or in the rural areas. And through this, I think it will be able now to have a legal framework of what is required of a county are not regulated. And I think the starting point for regulation of structures and buildings that are coming up is starting up with the infrastructure of roads and pavements, so that by the time you construct and you're given authority to construct, you'll be carrying out that development in an area where the roads and the pavements have already